Hello and welcome in, everyone. We are so glad you're able to join us for another great session. My name is Hong Win, and I'm part of the Careers and Professional Development team here at WGU. We are so excited to have you here as a part of our Career Transition Week. This week is designed to support anyone thinking about making a career change, exploring some new opportunities, or redefining what success means to them. It's a time to hear real stories from great community leaders, gain practical strategies, and find encouragement as you navigate your own professional journey. Today's presenter is someone I had the chance of connecting with in July, and after hearing his story and passion for those around him, I was so excited to have him join us this week. It's my pleasure to introduce Garrett for a session titled Pivot to Purpose, where he'll dive into an inspiring conversation about navigating career change with courage, clarity, and purpose. Garrett's story is a powerful reminder that purpose and progress can go hand in hand. So, with that, Garrett, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Han. Hello, everybody. My name is Garrett Kiesz. My pronouns are he, him. I am an engineer turned DEI practitioner, and I'm also a Western Governors University alumni. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my journey in my career. I made a career pivot, a significant one actually, a number of years back. And really, it was because I was seeking purpose. And so, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to talk to you about my journey, and I've actually distilled it into four distinct parts. Hopefully, you can take something away from that and apply it to your journey as well. And really, it's about knowing when it's time for a change and how do you get there. So, in looking at it, first things first, we have to go back to the timeline. And if it will just go over, there we go, slideshow control. Okay, so starting out, 2010, I was an engineer at Intel, and actually, I was just fresh off of my master's degree with Western Governors University. What happened was I had graduated with an undergraduate degree in computer science. I was having trouble finding a job. This was, 2009. We had just come out of the housing crisis, and it was tough out there. So what I did was I chose to go back to school. What this did was it gave me intern status. Intel was able to hire me as a graduate intern, and that's really where I started my career in 2010. And I stayed there for a number of years. Moving on to 2017, this was another significant time in my life. So I had been at Intel for roughly about 7 years by then. I had a number of friends, but didn't really feel connected. I ended up getting involved in these things called employee resource groups. So for those of you that don't know what employee resource groups, or ERGs for short, are, is these are voluntary employee-led groups. They usually revolve around a certain affinity, and they're a great way to make connections in the workplace, network, bring in allies. They're a wonderful tool for employee engagement and are a key component of DEI. I got involved with these. I ended up leading one, and what that allowed me to do was that allowed me to work with public affairs in our volunteer program. It helped me to get more involved in the community, where I led retention efforts there. I was also brought in to work on a task force at our Folsom site again, really to address retention for recent college grads, younger employees, the millennial generation that was coming into the workforce at the time. Also planned a number of conferences and really had a great time doing this voluntary work in addition to my full engineering job. So looking at 2021, this was significant because we were in the middle of the pandemic. This is when ERGs kind of went silent. It was really hard to gather. We were doing a lot of things remote. So there was opportunity, but not as much. And this is when I really started to feel that tug of, hey, I've been in my career for over a decade now. I think I want to do something different. I'm tired of doing engineering. I'm tired of working with graphics, but I really love working with ERGs, and I'm seeing the impact they make. So maybe it's time for a change. I had the opportunity to actually do a rotation program with our DEI partners within Intel, and from there they hired me on full time. So I ceased to be an engineer and I moved over into our global diversity inclusion group. Next, we have 2023. This is when the training wheels came off. So while I was confident in what I was doing, I loved what I was doing, and I was home. In 2023, Golden One Credit Union reached out to me because they needed somebody to start their DEI program, build out their employee resource groups, their volunteer program, help with their intern program. that's when they hired me to come over. So I took another chance. I left Intel after almost 13 years of being there, went over there, made a bunch of great friends, made a big difference, started their program, and we grew fast and we were successful. So most recently, that's what I was doing. And this is where I am today talking to you, all because of this career transition. So in looking at this, it's kind of a four-phase approach. So when I look at the start of my journey, really it's around purpose. And purpose is important because we want to identify what is important to you now. That is a big key thing. I really needed to identify what was important to me in my current season of life and what I want to spend my time doing. So this really, what this also does is this will give you direction on what new career path you may want to pursue and if it's time for a change. This is really important because purpose and priorities will change over time depending on what season of life you're in. So previously we had Brian on the earlier call and he was talking about his why. That is what this is all about. Going back to 2019, 2020, I started working with a therapist. I was really not feeling fulfilled in my career, was wondering what was next. I needed a change. And so, really, she was coaching me and guiding me to think about what was important to me now. And in thinking about my career, it's like, well, I'd been in my career for a while. I had, I was stable, things weren't dire, but really, I wanted to wake up every morning and do something that I felt mattered and that made a difference, which is why I started considering a career pivot. And obviously, I was great at ERGs. I loved the work I was doing there. So I chose to really pursue DEI. And that was a great decision. I remember one morning waking up from my engineering role and thinking, I can't do this anymore. So this started with me talking to my manager later that day saying, hey, I need to take a sabbatical. I need a reset and I need to figure this out. And during that sabbatical, I was asking myself a lot of questions. And actually, a number of them that I found that were helpful to me were what are my current priorities in and outside of work? Well, really, I had enjoyed the work life balance, I had enjoyed the flexibility that my current job afforded me. But my priorities at the time became, hey, I want to give back. I see there's a lot going on in the world. I have many different friends from many different cultures, and I have this skill set where I can involve more people and I can make a difference and really make people belong at work. So that was kind of one of my whys, and it's so I chose to really lean into that. Next, and I kind of alluded to this, does the work I'm doing bring me meaning? And am I okay if it doesn't? And the answer was no, the work didn't bring me meaning, and no, I wasn't okay. So this is actually different because for some folks, this may be okay. You may not find meaning, but you're okay with that because what your work may afford you is it may afford you flexibility. It may allow you to spend more time with your kids. It may allow you the income you need to go pursue everything you want to take care of family. So this actual second question, it's okay. Multiple answers are good and none of them are wrong, but it is key to ask yourself that. And then next, does my work allow me to meet the needs of myself and my family? Again, previously alluded to that for myself. No, I wasn't meeting my own needs. I needed fulfillment. That's something that you need to ask yourself and be aware of as well. And then again, do I have the ability, time, or resources to make a change? Now, this is the one where we start to think about, so I may want to make a change, but can I make a change? And the answer may be no. You may not have the time, resources, or ability due to just life circumstances, and that's very much okay as well. I know I was stable in my career. I had a good income. Family life was very stable. I had the privilege of being able to make a change that would kind of put a little bit of that at risk because I felt it was a calculated risk and it was great. For everybody, that may not be the same. And so that's something to be aware of. So I was asking myself these questions and I talked about it briefly, but it's yes, I made the choice. I needed to change. I was going to make a change. I was finally going to do it. And so with that, there were some key things that I learned during that. And what's important to you early in your career may not be today. It's when I think of myself first coming into Intel at 2010 and then to deciding to make that change and now being a DEI practitioner, never would have thought I would have been here. Because early on, what was important to me was it was paying off those student loans. It was making sure that my family is taken care of. It was making sure that I didn't have to worry about finances and that I was in a stable career. Now it's really about I want to help people. I want to pass on what I've learned. I want to make a difference in my world. And then needing to make a change does not mean you have made a mistake. So this is something that I've actually struggled with myself. It's in thinking about it. I started off my career in computer science and tech. I was good at it, necessarily didn't want to do that. I always thought I wanted to be actually a graphic designer or a psychologist. Um, and so, in making this change, it can feel like I've just put in 13 years into this career and now I'm going to do something else. Oh my gosh, did I just waste all that time? And the answer is no, it's not a mistake because there are many things you can take from your past experiences that are applicable to life going forward. So remember, it's never a mistake to have to make a change. And along with that, it's never too late to find your purpose or try something new. It truly isn't. I think about my generation, the millennial generation, and we grew up in a generation where we heard stories about some 25-year-old kid that is, a multimillionaire or billionaire that has just sold his first company and doing amazing things. This was all around us, especially with social media and cable news coming out. Um, that's not always true. That is not everybody. And also, people have done great things by making a transition later on because, hey, life is too short. It's never too late to try something new. And most importantly, be successful at it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about purpose and finding that why, making the decision. Now we have to come up with a plan. So have when you have made that decision to make a career change, it's time to create a plan for how you're going to get there. This can include researching any skills, education, certifications, or experience needed to transition. During this process, it's important to identify any transferable abilities or experience you currently possess. Haley in the session yesterday, she actually talked a lot about transferable skills. I'd recommend you go check that out. But really, it's figuring out, hey, what do I need to get to where I'm going? So for me, what it was I had a lot of volunteer experience. Again, I was talking about my work with ERGs. I was talking about my work with our volunteer program, the community at large. So I did have a leg up there. I was actually able to translate a lot of that into a very competitive resume to help me make that transition to go into the rotation program I talked about. But for others, it may be getting that certification degree. I know in my field right now, I'm actually working on a certification, and it's diversity, equity, and inclusion for HR through Cornell. That's a major certification. It teaches you a lot, and it's going to give you a lot of credibility. So there are multiple things that you may need to make that transition. Again, these are just a few of them. So in looking at what you need to ask yourself, it's again, what certifications or education do you need to attain? Again, being part of WGU, this can really help. There are so many offerings there that can help you take that next step in your career. And you're going to hear a lot about that this week. Also, what skills are required to be successful in this new role. You know, I heard in Haley's talk yesterday, I heard about teachers transitioning to the corporate world. And one of the big things in corporate that we really emphasize is uh, it's being able to be cross-functional and stakeholder alignment. And again, you may be coming from an industry that's like, hey, I may not have that, but you actually might. And it's again, and thinking about teachers, it's well, they have to do a lot of lesson planning. They're coordinating with administration, they're serving kids, they're coordinating with other teachers, things like that. Parents as well, stakeholder engagement. So you may be surprised you're actually doing a lot of the work you're doing that you may need in a different career. Again, I think about people working in retail or customer service. At Intel, we had a saying, we must be customer obsessed. That was both internal and external. I had people that relied on me for the work I produced. And again, I wanted to delight my customers and serve them. And again, at Golden One, we're all about customer service. We're about serving the members there as well. So having that mindset of service that you can find in just about any industry definitely translates to a new role. And then, so I just covered transferable experience. So what, if any, transferable experience do you have, and what experience do you need to gain? Again, I talk about a lot of my time spent volunteering. Volunteerism is a great way to get that experience when it may not be directly related to your job. It is something you can put on a resume. You can learn through it. I would highly encourage you to explore different volunteer opportunities in your community, but also internally as well. You may be able to shadow someone. You may be able to reach out to another team. It's like, hey, I'm interested in learning and development. Um, is it all right if I shadow you, or can I set up a meeting to hear your story and talk more about how I may be able to get there? The next one, what do I need to update in my resume or online profile? Again, LinkedIn is one of the first things people see now in the corporate world and also the work world that really tells your story. So you want to make sure that is updated and tailored towards the new career path you want to undertake. Again, with the resume, finding somebody that can help you with that and really tell your story, highlight those transferable skills. Having a great resume is a good way into a new career. And then actually another great one. Who do I want to work for, or what do I want to do? This is important because unless you're making a career change for, circumstances like, hey, I need more flexibility. Hey, I need to make a higher salary because it's my kid. Really, you want to be able to, you want to work somewhere that you want to work and somebody who you want to work for. Again, I talked earlier about it, may not be the time. My all time dream job would be to work for Activision Blizzard. Loved those games growing up ever since I was, 10 years old. I actually, but again, I'm talking about seasons of life. I wasn't able to move down to Irvine for that, so I did have to pass on it. But again, it's they were somebody I identified as somebody I wanted to work for, and maybe in the future I may consider working for them as well. So something to think about there. But also remember, like I said already, you already have transferable skills. We all do. It's just figuring out what they are and how to tell the story of that. And again, if you lack any necessary amount of experience to transition, look for volunteer opportunities related to your desired role. Again, can't say more. I cannot elevate that more because raising my hand and saying, yes, I'll do this or I'll give it a shot really has propelled me into the role I am as right now. I'm in DEI because of my experience in employee resource groups. Simple as that. So I'd encourage you to take um, a look at those volunteer roles. And then your resume is going to tell the story. Make sure it tells it. Um, Always be looking to update it. See how best you can position yourself to really sell you and make you shine. It's this is a highlight reel. It's make it look great. And then revise your plan if needed. This is an ongoing process, and it's you may come up with a plan and it may not work, or you may come across something later on in your journey that you realize, hey, it's I need this additional skill or I need this certification. That's okay. The plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a plan. All right. So next, we're going to look at the different people. So it's where you want to go, you have your plan in place, but now it's you need to find your allies and the people that are going to help you execute your plan, because a career transition isn't always easy, and you will need others to open doors as well as support you. You're going to want to connect with people currently in the industry, find mentors, career coaches. There's some great coaches here at WGU. Get aligned with professional communities, and most importantly, your friends and family. And this is all important because we need to ask ourselves a bunch of questions like, do I have those mentors that can guide me on my journey? And can I find one? What I found in my journey, especially leading ERGs, was I had a lot of great people around me that showed me what excellence looked like and could advise me when I had questions. I was lucky to have those folks. Not all of us do. So I would really highly encourage you to go out and find them, be it at work or in your community. And then again, what industry professionals can I network with to learn more about my desired career path? Again, LinkedIn is great. Reach out to folks on LinkedIn, start building up that professional network because, when you reach out to people, more likely than not, if you're genuine, and that's actually one of my tips for the next slide afterwards, but it's being genuine, being honest, building those networks, finding those people in the industry and wanting to learn more. They will respond back to you because more likely than not, it's they've been there and they're more than happy to pass along their knowledge and to, help somebody else out because, hey, we all started from somewhere. So I'd highly encourage you to network as well. And then, do I have a trusted source to review my resume? I keep coming back to the resume because for me, one of my close friends at Intel, she actually helped me revise my resume multiple times from engineering into a DEI centric HR resume so that I could be competitive when I did apply for a job internally with our DEI partners. So if you do have a source, whether it's paid, free, somebody that's an expert, I would highly encourage you to pursue that as well. And then again, I keep coming back to the communities. Are there any communities I can join? Again, LinkedIn's a great resource. A lot of professional communities on there that you can join, participate in, ask questions. Also, chambers of commerce was actually a thing that was mentioned in a session yesterday. Get involved there as well. There's a whole lot of professionals there that go there to network that are willing to help. I would highly recommend joining those as well. And then lastly, who can I turn to when things get hard? Because guess what? Things will get hard. A career transition is not easy. Some are easier than others. Some feel impossible. It's important to have somebody or a support group that you can turn to when things get rough. And that's why I mentioned friends and family at the end, because they may not necessarily have the direct experience or advice to help you really transition, but they're going to be there to support you when, things get tough. And lastly, remember, again, I'm going to keep pounding this. Use LinkedIn to reach out to others and expand your network. Be upfront and genuine about your goals. You're going to be surprised who responds. As a program manager, I got a lot of cold calls about different products to buy from people on LinkedIn. But I had a number of people reach out asking about questions. Hey, how did you get into this industry? Hey, I'm having an issue here. Hey, who can you connect me with? And I was more than happy to set up time to respond to them because it was helping people along. It was passing along knowledge. So don't be scared. I know it can be intimidating at times, but do reach out to people you don't necessarily know. And again, I alluded to this earlier. Not everything will go well. Have someone in your inner circle you can turn to for encouragement. Again, back to the friends and family. It's nothing is ever going to be perfect. It's always good to have that support system there. And then it is okay to ask for help. Something I learned the hard way throughout my career, and this is good for anybody, whether you're doing a career transition, whether you're locked into your dream job for the last 20 years. It's okay to ask for help. We all need it, and there are people that are going to be able to give it to you. And really, asking for help is the only way we get better. We can't fully do anything on our own. All right, so we've talked about purpose, plan. Well, now it's time to pivot. It is actually time to execute. So, after you have identified all that, created your plan, found your people, again, it's time to execute. So, it's time to start enacting the plan, and that could be returning to school, that could be starting a new certification or applying to that job you've wanted. While you're doing this, it's important to evaluate your progress and return to a previous step as needed. You may have to revise your plan. You may start, pursuing a new career or a new degree and just go, hey, this isn't for me. I thought I wanted to do this, but I may not. You can go back and reevaluate your purpose. You may also need to find more people. There may be, certain mentors or different professional communities that you can find that will also help you as well. So it's always okay to go back even while you're executing. And always remember to keep going. A career pivot is not linear, it's an ongoing process. Even if you do get the job, there is still learning to be done. There are still other things you can be doing. So it's not just really a switch that is flipped. So it's always going to be ongoing. And then during this process, ask yourself, what does success look like? Again, I talked about getting that job, flipping that switch. It may not just be getting the job. It may be becoming an industry expert. It may be feeling confident in what you're doing. It may be finally doing a project that gives you purpose where you've helped somebody out. So define what success looks like for you. Also measure your progress. So ask yourself, how am I measuring it? And that may be, hey, it's I'm gaining additional years of experience, or I'm gaining more certifications, or the interviews seem to be lining up more, or I'm feeling more confident in my abilities. It doesn't need to be quantifiable. It can be qualitative because this is personal. So define how you yourself are going to measure project. And then one of the other things is, and I have to ask myself this a lot, am I doing what I need to do? And then honestly, so there's a lot of times where we can talk about, enacting the plan. Yes, I'm doing what I need to do, or at least I think I am. But really, it's, you make concessions along the way that are really hindering your success. So really understanding that you are enacting your plan, you're doing what you need to be doing and you're being honest with yourself. And lastly, am I still aligned with my purpose and priorities? Because, hey, all of this is in support of that first item. It's purpose, it's understanding what my priorities are, what my goals are, what I want to be doing. So through this process, make sure you're still aligned with that. It's don't take some job that is, or go into a career that's adjacent to what you want to do, that you're not finding full fulfillment with, or you're not truly meeting your goals. It's remember to stay aligned and always be aware of that. And then again, back to the remember bias for action. So this is a big one. I personally struggle with this myself a lot. And just understand it's better to take a good first step than a perfect step never. So I try to make things very perfect. I try to make sure I don't have mistakes. I try to make sure things are optimal. And what I found is by doing that, I've missed out on opportunity. I missed out on basically chances to take that next step. And I've made it too hard and I've just, missed out. So I would highly recommend if you got a good plan, but you don't think it's perfect, roll with it anyways and go do it. It's do it scared. And then also a career transition continues beyond getting the job. Your network can help sustain that. It's talk to folks. It's there are a lot of people that know a lot of things that you may not know, and it's grow in your career. Be a lifelong learner. I cannot emphasize that enough. It's especially for me in switching into DEI, it's like I know I'm good. I know I have a lot of empathy. I can build great employee programs, but I also know I don't know everything. I know there's blind spots and I know I need to keep learning so I can be the best that I can be to serve, other employees. And then always seek out new skills. That's kind of into that. It's we're always growing, always keep learning, find those new skills. And then lastly, and this is very important, it's you'll fail even when you have done nothing wrong. Learn from it and remember that it does not define you. There's been times in my career where I felt like a failure, where I felt like, oh, I didn't do that right, or why does somebody think, I'm not good, or why was I not picked for this? There's a lot of things, and sometimes, yes, you made a mistake. That's okay. Sometimes you didn't make a mistake and things just didn't work out. That's life. That's okay. What's important to remember is to ask yourself, hey, what can I learn from this? And also know that it doesn't define you. It doesn't define you at all. Any of us can bounce back from anything. So I want to leave you with that to encourage you as you may be going on in your career transition to when things get difficult that, hey, this doesn't define you. You can be great. And so, again, I talked about that. But lastly, it's you got this. If you're making that career transition, do it. I worried about it. I agonized over it for years before really knowing I was agonizing over it, but it was worth it. I found a lot of fulfillment, happiness, and helped a lot of people. So that's my encouragement for you. Hopefully, you've learned a little bit about my journey and you have some, tangible tools to help you along the way.
Thank you so much, Garrett. That was a lot of great insight, a lot of great reminders. I really resonated with, waiting to have it perfect in order to do it. And it reminds me, as a friend told me, it's better to brush your teeth at 50% than at 0%. So thank you so much. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions now. You can definitely raise your hand if you'd like to come off mute, and we'll pass the mic over to you. Or feel free to drop it into the chat, and we'll make sure to facilitate that out. I think we do already have a question here from Isaac. Any tips for updating your LinkedIn for a pivot without completely abandoning potential opportunities in previous industries?
So that's actually a great question. So I have actually done that on my LinkedIn as well because, as you know, 2020, great time for DEI. A lot of people were building employee experience programs. Now we are in a different time, a different administration. So things have gotten rough out there. So actually, in talking about pivots, it's now having been out of engineering for about 3, 4 years. There's times when I really missed it. I worked on some projects within HR to where I'm like, hey, I do miss coding. I do miss figuring things out. I do miss building out backend. So, I've considered possibly pivoting back to that. And so there really are ways. Isaac, what I would recommend is using, honestly, using ChatGPT. It's a great way to get you started to really, really tailor those summaries to leave yourself open for both types of opportunities. There's a lot of language you can use. Obviously, your tagline, you can put multiple things in there, which is what I would recommend as well. And really transferable skills. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that overlaps again, cross functional skills, stakeholder engagement, budget management, customer service. All of that you can typically find in just about any given role. So it's easy to highlight those as well. So again, it's you can take a look at my LinkedIn if you want kind of an example of what I did, but also a lot of chat tools work as well, or general AI tools work as well. I was going to say chat GPT, but we may have some Gemini users in here.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Isaac. Any other questions, feel free to drop that into the chat. Also, if you think of one later on, we can always make sure that gets through to Garrett here. And then, Garrett, if you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and drop your LinkedIn in as well.
Perfect.
All right. And then just as a reminder, this session is being recorded, so we'll make sure to send that out. And then Garrett, earlier you mentioned about just networking and reaching out and being genuine. And I see a lot of your tips resonated in just how you carry yourself. I actually reached out to Garrett on LinkedIn. That's how we got connected. I saw his profile. I saw that he had engineering into DI program manager. And I just sent a request and said, hey, we have an upcoming event for Career Transition Week. I think you'd be a fantastic community leader to speak on that. And he was more than willing to jump on and help out with that. So, um, any other questions, feel free to drop that in here.
But yeah, that's actually a great example of what I'm talking about right there. Because I mean, LinkedIn, I feel like it can get very commercialized. It always feels like somebody's trying to sell you something. Really, it is a network of professionals. It's a network of people, and I again, you would be strangely surprised the amount of people that will, talk to you or set up a coffee chat just because you reached out and were curious and wanted to know more. For this very instance, I was like, absolutely, I'll do this. So again, it's scary. I know I have a little bit of resistance, if I'm being honest, to doing that as well, but it really does make a difference. You'd be surprised who you'd get connected with, who you can open a door with, and also just build out that network so that when you are going into these interviews or trying to, transition into a different industry, there's already somebody in there, and it's somebody you can kind of talk about. So little light tip there as well.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And another thing I would add too is don't worry about the no's. Of course, you're going to get some people that might not respond or they'll decline and say, I'm not interested. And that's okay. The yeses is where you'll win, right? It's where you'll build your connection. So, and I see people dropping their LinkedIn in, so that's great. Let's see. I think this is maybe more of a comment. Most of the roles I had started as something and ended as something else. That leaves me with a big catch in a sense that I can't clear interview or oftentimes explain things I deliver better than someone with 2 to 3 times of my experience. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Any other questions? We'll just give it another minute here.
Yeah. And questions about anything, I'm super chatty. I got plenty of stories about the transition. I made this more into a corporate PowerPoint, but really I'm very relational.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Is cutting into my job search? How to address that? Let's see. So I'm sensing that you're applying for multiple positions maybe, and you're not able to clear the interview. Oftentimes, um, explain things I deliver better than someone with. Okay. So maybe any tips for some interviewing skills, ways to be able to better deliver uh, experience and transferable skills.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting this because I actually ran into this. Actually, quick story. So while I was transitioning to the DEI partners, a part that I did leave out is one of the things that really motivated me to consider this was at Intel, there was an opening for an ERG program manager, and the person hiring for it was the program manager that was overseeing my direct group that I was already leading strategy of. So I was going through the, hey, I need to make a change. I don't know what I want to do. I really like this. Oh, I can get paid to go do this. Okay, I think I'll apply. And during the process, I knew it was very strong. I found it hard to believe there could be somebody stronger than me because I built up a reputation for myself in the ERG program over the years. And I felt like I was a really great fit because it would be program managing the very group I was leading. um, so I again had a lot of engineering experience, updated the resume, was competitive. I ultimately didn't get the job. I came up runner up, and the main feedback was, well, I didn't have enough formal project management experience. And initially I was a little indignant because it's, hey, I've been an engineer for 12, 13 years. I've been managing entire test banks and projects. Like, it's all I do is project manage like every single day. What do you mean I need more direct experience? It's, I thought I conveyed that. So it happens. It does, and there are other ways to tell the story. I think really having it appear on a resume. Again, I'm going to go back to those Chat GPT and other AI tools. They can really help you kind of reword things so that you can really highlight a lot of transferable skills. Um, and it's that would be my big recommendation for that. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you do have to take on that extra role. Which again, I went to the DEI partners because, hey, I need more formal project management experience, and that turned into, well, we're just going to offer you a job. You're great. You know how to do it. So yeah, so it's getting that 2x, 3x times experience, even when you know you're great. It can be hard. There are ways to do it on the resume. Again, finding volunteer roles or things you've done on the side that can greatly assist in that and kind of get you over the hump.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Garrett. Another question we get from our students is dealing with imposter syndrome. And I don't know if you ever felt that while you were kind of navigating through your career pivot, but if so, do you have any tips or, stories that you can share that kind of helps with that?
So yes, that's a big thing, and I still struggle with that at times. Early on in my career, so I was an engineer. I didn't work that hard in school. I was too busy having fun. But I knew I was a smart kid, so here I am coming into Intel. I have a computer science degree. Prior to WGU, I went to Point Loma Nazarene, small private school in San Diego. Uh, and I didn't have that respected degree. I didn't go to Caltech. I wasn't from Cornell, and I'm around all these people with advanced degrees that I feel are smarter than me. Just immediately get it. I was a software guy working at a hardware company. Those of you in tech know that can be a thing. That's different. So I felt like I wasn't good enough, and what I did was I had to work hard to prove myself. That ended up being a good thing, but mentally, psychologically, emotionally wasn't great. It's when I got positive feedback from those around me that I was doing a good job and I was a trusted source and I did get it. That's really when I started to say, oh, I got this. Now, in going to DEI felt a bit more natural to me. Um, so I didn't really quite have that. It was the steady just ramp up to where it's like I'm getting a lot of good feedback. People love the work I'm doing. I can do this. At Golden One, there were a few programs I participated in and built out where people just tore them apart, and it wasn't because they were wrong, they weren't working. It's just they had a different perspective and a different view, and for a while, I really questioned, am I good enough? Can I actually do this? Did I just get lucky? Am I faking it? What really helped me was a previous director of mine, Callie Galt, who came in. Again, she'd been in DEI for a couple of decades, and she really recognized my skills and talent when others didn't. And that really helped. That really helped me see, okay, I can do this. I do have this ability. Let's go forward. So, for dealing with syndrome, find a trusted source that you respect that can, give you encouragement, and not just encouragement like, oh, you got this, you're doing a good job, but no, I see you, I see the results you're producing. I see you can do X, Y, and Z, you're good. That will go a long way. So that's what I would recommend. LinkedIn, again, great place to reach out for folks like that.
Yep, yep. I love that. There's a lot of talk about mentorship too, finding a mentor, and I think LinkedIn is a great place to do it. And some of the insights that I've heard is, reaching out to someone and not just saying like, "Hey, will you mentor me?" But sharing a little bit about what your background is and what you're hoping to do, what your goals are, and kind of what sets you apart. So I think those would be great things to consider. Um, a lot of comments in here on thanks and resonating with your story in career pivot. So thanks, Garrett, for that. I'll give it just another minute here for any questions. Um, and there's just some quick reminders. We will make sure to send this recording out in the next 24 to 48 hours. Along with that, Garrett, if it's okay, I'll include your LinkedIn so that folks can follow you. I think someone did ask for a copy of the PowerPoint. So if you're okay with that, we'd love to share that as well. But yeah, we can go ahead and wrap up today's session. Thank you all so much for joining us and for your thoughtful engagement. If this is your first time in a WGU session, we're so glad that you're here. We hope that it gives you a sense of what our community is about, creating connections, sharing career insights, and helping people make a positive impact in their lives. Feel free to follow us on our YouTube channel for these past recordings. And then we do have that quick survey. It's just 2 questions, and we really appreciate your input. Also, we like to extend a huge WGU thank you to you, Garrett, for sharing your time and experience and encouragement. Your journey is such a motivating reminder that purpose-driven careers are possible at any stage. There's a lot of good insights and helpful reminders. That's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know everything. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Wishing everyone a great rest of your day. Feel free to sign up for future events, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, Garrett.